Can the Cowboys make a trade that gets them Kyle Pitts, that has them giving up a star player as a key piece? Mike Fisher reporting from the Fishbowl in Frisco, home of the Dallas Cowboys. Bill Barnwell of ESPN has some fun with this every year. His project is, let's go through a mock draft where everybody makes a trade. And so he knows on the surface of this, it's somewhat fanciful. But that doesn't mean we can't dig in and go, that matches, or that's compelling, or, as we frequently do here on the Fish Report, go, oh, that's ridiculous. Let's do this with this exercise. Part of the understanding of what a team does in the NFL draft, and I'll use Washington as an example. Washington drafts 19th, okay? We've got NFL scouting people telling us there's 19 first-round grades in this draft. You have to factor in that there's going to maybe be a quarterback or whatever that doesn't have a first-round grade. That'll, throw it off a little bit. But that can mean that if you draft 19th, you're not going to get a first-round player. Again, he'll get drafted in the first round, but he won't have a first-round grade. So where is the line of demarcation where you'd like to jump above? There's also, just like in your fantasy league, when you go into your fantasy league, tell me you take it seriously enough, please, that you go, okay, I got to have one of these 5 running backs, or I'm not going to bother till the 7th round, okay? I got to have one of these 2 tight ends, or I'm not going to bother, right? There's tiers. So think about that when you're thinking about this trade. His most compelling trade for Dallas, and he's got a couple of them. The Dolphins give up the number 6 overall pick and a 3rd rounder, 81st overall. They get Dallas's 10. They get a 4th, and they get Amari Cooper. Oh, and then in Barnwell's scenario, Dallas drafts Florida tight end Kyle Pitts. Excited? That's a lot of, not only is it a lot of moving pieces, it's a lot of compelling moving pieces. Some of the thinking here is commonplace and it's logical. You have discussed what the Cowboys should do at wide receiver in the future, talent-wise and cap-wise. We have discussed it. A Cooper trade means that you're done with a $20 million wide receiver. But I believe that if you trade him, you take an immediate dead money cap hit of $8 million. So you'd be paying Amari Cooper $8 million to not be here. That's not the most sound way to run a cap. It would, though, be the setup for the eventual re-signing of Michael Gallup. In fact, you might turn right around and do Michael Gallup right now. Trade Amari Cooper, save $12 million, and turn around and give some of that to Michael Gallup. That's a theory. That's my jumping off of what Barnwell's done here. You could do that. And then the Dallas receiving corps surrounding Dak Prescott would be, this year and for a long time, Gallup, probably as the 2nd guy, CeeDee Lamb as the number 1 guy, Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts as Mr. Everything. This concept satisfies Dallas's undeniable love for Pitts. Yeah, this is no secret anymore, nor, by the way, should people that are trying to do their predictions, drafts, trades, whatever, don't attach Dallas to Pitts any more than a bunch of other teams. A bunch of other teams like him too. In fact, why doesn't Miami like him? We'll get to that in a minute. But the price of this swap, the trade value chart, Barnwell, by the way, who's very smart and sharp, calls it the Jimmy Johnson trade value chart. Why, people? Why? He didn't do it. But the price is fair. I just call it the trade value chart, and as I've demonstrated to you here in the past, it should be called the Mike McCoy trade value chart, but for the ego and lack of ego of certain people involved. So the swap, the price is fair. You get the Megatron talent, and you give up the right pieces to do it. What it doesn't do for the Cowboys, who, by the way, I'm told, and you can get this story at cowboyssi.com. We talk about it on 105.3 The Fan. They are narrowing their focus between the cornerbacks, Surtain and J.C. Horn. Patrick Surtain, Alabama, J.C. Horn, South Carolina at 10. That doesn't mean that they've eliminated the other ideas, but they are, a source tells me, narrowing their focus. Maybe that means that they're intensifying their study of those two guys, trying to figure out which one's which. This coaching staff leans one way, Horn. Scouting staff leans the other way, Surtain. And Will McClay will ultimately pilot a decision there. Doesn't mean Slater's out. Obviously, that cannot mean Sewell's out. I think it mostly means that they visualize Sewell as being gone, and then let's take a cornerback over Slater. Not ruling them out, but narrowing the focus. So that would be a hole to this idea. Here's two more holes to this otherwise fun idea. One, how is Pitts sliding to the number 6 spot? Now, in Barnwell's thing, everybody makes a trade. And he's got people trading up for quarterbacks. But in reality, Pitts is very likely, in my mind, to be taken at 4 by the Atlanta Falcons. If somehow that doesn't happen, very likely to be taken at 5. And if that doesn't happen, why doesn't Miami just go, dude, you can call us all you want. We just had, again, the second best player on our board, quite possibly, fall to us at 6. We're taking that. And now we're going to have Pitts be the centerpiece of our offense with Tua as our quarterback. Watch how much better he looks now that we have that guy. Not to mention a collection of other guys. They did add Will Fuller from Houston. Collection of other guys. But Pitts would be the centerpiece there. Why would Miami say no to that? So how's Pitts sliding to the number 6 spot? And would Miami really be better off with the cap-expensive Cooper than with the cap-affordable Pitts? Always remember that when we're talking about these kind of swaps. The way to beat the cap is the draft. You are going to get half a decade of super affordable Kyle Pitts instead of $20 million a year Amari Cooper. That's a factor. I should note, because he does, by the way, thank you for subscribing to what we do. Thank you for hitting that bell so you know when we come on. The like button is always great. We beat the algorithms that way. We're tricky here in Cowboy Nation. And then your subscriptions bring me great joy. You're subscribing. Barnwell is the first to admit that part of this exercise is for fun. He writes, and I quote, "I try to construct a trade that makes sense for 2 or more teams given their respective needs and team-building styles. These trade ideas, all of which are created in good faith, almost always make fans angry, and not a single one has come to fruition." So he does this every year, and it never quite works out the way he maps it out. But that doesn't mean that there isn't value here. The brainstorming is absolutely helpful. I'm sure you'll agree. It, at the very least, guides us to have a conversation, and then for me to work and you to work to pinpoint our thoughts, and maybe the Cowboys' thoughts too. What is the value in this particular case of Amari Cooper? What is the value in this particular case of Michael Gallup? And as the centerpiece of great conversation, what is the value to the Dallas Cowboys and to the Dolphins and to the 2 teams that could pick him ahead of the Dolphins? What is the value of Kyle Pitts? So there's one blockbuster trade concept. We will break down and boil down a few others as we go. Don't forget to come in and get our conversations. NFL Draft Scouting Conversations with Bobby Belt, Jeff Kavanaugh, Brian Broaddus, and much more to come right here on the Fish Report channel. Fish out.